Any questions from the audience about how this works? I think everybody's clear at this point. How are you guys feeling? Can we get you a refreshment or something?
We're good.
Yeah?
Fun.
All good.
All right. Cool. All right, John, 5 minutes on the clock whenever you'd like to start, and we're looking forward to it.
Awesome. Well, hey, everybody. Great to meet you. My name is John Cabak. I am the co-founder and CEO of Detect Auto, where we're using AI to maximize the repair profitability of service departments and dealerships and aftermarket shops as well. And I wanted to give a big shout out to our team and our customers who are early believers who have basically taken us from nothing to 132K in ARR over the past 5 months. But to tell you about what we're solving and why we're doing it, I love to tell it through the lens of our business partner, Jason. Jason had 4 repair shops in the Denver area when we first met him, and he had a pretty consistent problem, which was Jason wanted to know what his technicians were doing in the service bays. And he asked them, can you please enter this information? Can you please put this in my management software? And Jason, unsurprisingly, found that no one was doing that. And it's because it's kind of hard to collect this data. Technicians are doing more things than they ever have had to before. And so when we started working with Jason, we wanted to set out to solve this problem. Especially because when we started talking to Jason, he said he was giving every technician a $500 bonus if they would just enter in the data they were supposed to. And sadly, no one did it. Not a single technician put that information in. So Jason's like, what am I going to do? How do I get these guys to give me the information I need? So a lot of his numbers look like this in the rectangles, where you see they produced great numbers, but they look like they don't actually do any work. So it's hard to actually improve with the data he collected. And so Jason, as a last-ditch effort, decided, I'm going to go through and manually record every single thing that happens. I'm going to review it all. And then it's way too much. It's 2 hours a night, 3 hours a night. He couldn't do it. That's where we came in. With our platform, we're using an AI system in the repair bays at service centers to collect this information and automatically update customers as jobs get completed. And so we do this with computer vision. On the left, you'll see what our camera sees. On the right is what our camera interprets. We're able to understand where technicians are working, what they're working on, and how efficient they are at all of those jobs. And the way we give that to our customers is through a web app, where we can track the real-time status of any job in the service department, as well as provide customers with almost like a Domino's pizza tracker style of update on the vehicles as they're getting repaired. And then on top of this, we collect this information to give technicians and dealerships a way to see who is the most efficient at what type of job, and how can we most effectively dispatch those jobs to these people. And so when we decided to start applying this with one of our first dealer customers in Georgia, we were able to help them save 10 minutes per oil change. And the way we did it was pretty simple. We found technicians that had high efficiency in these job categories and technicians with low efficiency in these categories, compared their processes thanks to the data we collected, and identified all of the differences between the process and worked with them to standardize across all of the work they were doing. On top of this, we were also able to take and do an analysis on the number of hours technicians were billing relative to how long it actually took them to do the work. So in this instance here, we were able to see that just because you billed 20 hours and made 10 grand on a job actually meant that it took your employee 50 hours of labor to finish that job, and most importantly, took your profit all the way down to $37 an hour. So using strategies like this, from the moment we installed Jason through today, he's gone from 45K a month in profit to 69K a month in profit in his store, and it's allowed him to open up his 5th shop in the Denver area. But of course, that begs the question, how do we as a company make money from this? It's pretty straightforward. We charge $100 for a one-time installation fee per repair bay, and then $50 a month for each repair bay we install our system into. To date, we've generated about $55,000 in revenue this year, put us in 22 stores and 202 repair bays across 12 different states, and we also somehow found our way going up to Edmonton, which was a little cold for my taste. But that also leads us into the last section I wanted to cover. Who else is doing this and how are they doing this? The big focus is collecting technician data, and where we differentiate ourselves is we try to focus on who's doing this in the repair bay with the best data possible. And the way we do that is a camera in each bay to collect that information for our teams. to date. This market is pretty large with nearly 300,000 auto shops and dealerships. But of course, we're not trying to get into everyone right up front. We're just looking for a smaller section. So our target for year one, $750K in ARR and 125 stores. We also just closed our first fundraising round in January of 2024, and that'll lead us to our goal for June in 2025.
Nice work. Round of applause. Yeah. All right, judges, you got 5 minutes on the clock. It's all yours.
Do you think this is a better profit product for the independent shop? Is it the guy that doesn't have a lot of infrastructure and he's got 3 bays and he's an easier sell than the dealer who's got 40 bays?
It's a great question. I think the biggest thing that we see is as you have more scale in your service departments and even across multiple locations, you can start understanding where do my technicians fit the best? Do I have certain team members that are stronger at one store than another? Do I have team members that would be better suited with this type of equipment or not? In the aftermarket with a smaller store, we're able to do some optimizations with how work is getting dispatched, and that's the same across the board. But the more people you get into a store, the more hectic it becomes, and that's when this information that we collect is really valuable.
How does the AI, sorry, how does the AI work in differentiating job for job? Is it set over to the system that this job is going to be an oil change, or do you just know how it's going to go?
Yeah, that's a great question. Well, I click back to this. Our whole system works because we have our own data collection system through this camera, but we also integrate with your DMS. So we're able to pull information on what RO is in the bay right now based on a license plate or a hang tag, and then we can correlate that information with what we actually see the technician doing. So you can see all of these different spaces on the vehicle here. They're highlighted in different colors. That's where our camera is able to detect this is where they're working on the car. These are the jobs they're likely to be working on right now.
You have the ability to match up job codes to technicians and to the work that's being done in the bay. So, and then you have clock times. You're going to clock on every job because you got to get reimbursed for warranty. So are you able to take those clock times, those flat rate hours that they're going to get paid, and then match it up to the time that's in the bay?
Yeah, exactly. So we really focus, number one, on customer paying jobs, but our strength is we can see what your technicians are clocking versus what they're actually doing. And more often than not, we do see some discrepancies, but it's just also illuminating to understand how is the work actually getting completed when you've never had that level of visibility before.
So in a 40 service bay operation, the one-time installation is $100 per, so we're at $4,000.
Correct.
And then it's $50 per month. So it's $4,000 once, $50 or $2,000 per month in perpetuity, so long as they're using your product. Is that correct?
That's correct, yes.
Who's paying for the cameras and the servers to get the data back to your cloud?
Yeah, so the cameras are included as part of that $50 a month subscription. So they are fairly simplistic security cameras we install. So thankfully, I'm not doing this anymore, but my co-founder Josh and I were climbing up on ladders and running all the cables ourselves, which no one here really wants to see because it was horrifying. But we do all that ourselves, so that's included in the cost of the subscription.
And how does the communication to the customer work? You know, the number of us use companies like True Video that send videos directly to the customer once the recommendation has been made. So how does that update look like?
Yeah, that's another good question. So that's something that we currently have only internal. We're not sending that externally to a customer yet. Our intent is, number one, we want to arm service advisors with the best tool to understand what's happening in the bay, so they don't have to walk out and talk to a technician or get an update. They can see it all from our platform. The honest intent is we do want it to be very similar to a Domino's pizza tracker system, where you can understand how the work is progressing for yourself, because we feel that if you as a consumer would pay $5 for a pizza and expect to get updates every time something happens, you should definitely do it when you're spending a couple $1,000s on a repair.
How often are you having to go in and manually clean up the data? Because the AI is making mistakes, and my guess is a lot of mistakes. And then how are you charging for that, or is it all just kind of behind the scenes, man behind the curtain?
Yeah, another good question. When we first started, Josh and I would label data every night until 3 a.m., making sure it was good. And we did that probably from all of 2023. We were going through and auditing it. Now we have a slightly different system where we have a prediction score that tells us how likely is this to be correct, and we're able to match that up with our results. We still do it and we still audit the data because we want to make sure we're giving correct reports, especially when it correlates to technician efficiency. But as a whole, we're doing it still, just not as much as we used to.
And you know where I'm going. The technician's going to be like, no, that's not what happened. And then he's going to, if he ever is vindicated and he's right, the whole system kind of
All
like,
right,
loses its.
good times. Good work, judges.
right.
Thank you. Another round of applause.
And I'm doing a regular piece, I don't have the part, I pull it out, and it goes out there, so it'd show almost like a completed job just with basic AI. You're not sure on how the part is available, so how does that work?
Sure. So again, a lot of our information is coming from what's in the DMS to start. So we'd loaded, you have 3 jobs in this ticket. We want to make sure that when those jobs are completed, we can mark them complete. So our system will build time and record things accordingly as a job progresses, but we'll never mark it complete until it's closed out in the DMS.
Yeah, so there's so many different things I could pull a car out for. I could call a customer and say, hey, you need X, Y, and Z, and they could not answer the call, and I've got to keep the shop moving, so there's a little bit of issue there. The second thing is, the pizza tracker already exists. Multiple, Ford's actually building their own internally, and then CDK has one, and blah, 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 blah. I think your real secret is go for dealerships, because the little mom and pops don't have a wallet share, and they don't understand ROI. Sometimes dealers don't understand ROI. Number 2, you need to fix that pain point. Number 2 phone call that comes in a dealership is status. So an integration in there handles the status problem. So that's what you need to do. Use that, do your time and stuff for efficiency, productivity, and all that, but that integration is going to feed the current pizza trackers that are human-based information, which means they don't work.
Right, absolutely. Yeah, that's great feedback. Thank you.
Other questions?
I think the status thing is really intriguing one because it ties up your phones. It's a really common question. The things I think about on status is I drop my car off at 9 o'clock. It doesn't come in till 2 o'clock to the bay till 2 o'clock. What happens in that downtime now is they just get ignored. The customers wonder if they have visibility into it. I wonder if they're just going to be raging on me.
Yeah.
It's like, I worry about that aspect of it. I don't know if other dealers do it or not, but that's something that would concern me. Love the idea, because again, if I could take some of that traffic out, awesome. But that's a big concern.
Yeah,
There's a disconnect between when the customer thinks their car's actually in the bay and when they drop their car off.
no, most definitely. I mean, one of the earliest things of feedback we've gotten from customers is by utilizing this, they're going to be opening themselves up to a real-time system that they've never had before. People always haven't been able to see, when is my tech actually working on this car? So it's a new way to manage a service base, and you're totally right, it does open up a new can of worms.
And then it'd be great if I could get an alert about the guy out back smoking a cigarette. He's going to Exactly. Maybe add one more camera out to the street.
Yeah, then it's done.
Carl, tell us what you really think. Come on.
No, but that could help with appointment setting too. And if you knew what jobs were coming in, you know how much time to allow to hopefully have less wait time
Precisely, yep.
to the customer. You gotta load the shop with.
Mm-hmm.
In shops where you are today that got some negative feedback after they've used it, what's been the feedback that they're least happy with?
I think probably the first thing that we heard from one of our customers was the web app was a little confusing. So they were looking at this and trying to relate, well, you have the repair order number on the screen there, but you don't have the customer's name. All I know is my customers. I don't really know what RO60692 is. So just really taking it and trying to be more user-centric has been one thing we're really focused on. And then the other thing, of course, is people want to tie this back to technician performance and how can they help them improve their process. So for us to do that, we feel that we need to have even better data confidence protocols in place to make sure that if you're going to judge someone's pay based on our data, we need it to be right and we need it to be perfect. So that's probably the 2 biggest things we've heard so far.
Nick.
It's a great presentation. We met a long time ago. The product was awesome. Have you thought about gamification from a tech perspective? So being able to see scorecards.
Definitely, yeah. Definitely.
And we're at time. Nice work. One last round of applause. I'll ask all of you to get on your app and score. Judges, score of 1 to 5. Would you put your money to work into this business? 1 to 5. And we'll give you 30 seconds or so to figure that out. How's everyone feeling? Good? Good. I think we got cookies and caffeine outside. The 2 food groups that matter when you're at a conference. Whoa, that's very different, Jonathan. You guys ready for the big reveal over here? 3, 2, 1, let's see it. Look at that. John liked this one. John liked this one. All right, cool. Good. Audience, everybody scored. Let's get the live score up on the screen. There you go. Good. Very nice.
I might do it later.
And the second score. And they liked your presentation very much. So good work. One last round of applause for John. Thank you, John. And all